Okay, we are just going to have to go with this one. All right, so we are working on Unit 5, the Roman world, chapters 10 and 11, with chapter 10 being the Roman Republic and chapter 11 being Rome and Christianity. So on page 90, you can see that we have three sections that we'll be working on, we'll be learning about. Section 1 is geography and the rise of Rome. Section 2 is government and society. And section 3, the late republic. So let's get started. I'm going to read for you and you will be able to answer all of the questions. All right, so section 1, geography and the rise of Rome. The geography of Italy. Rome eventually became the center of one of the greatest civilizations of the ancient world. In fact, the people of Rome conquered many of the territories you have studied in this book or another, including Greece, Egypt, and Asia Minor. Italy, where Rome was built, is a peninsula in southern Europe. If you look at the map, you can see that Italy looks like a high heeled boot sticking out into the Mediterranean Sea. And I'll show you that Rome is actually on the kneecap of that boot that is sticking out into the Mediterranean Sea. Physical features. Look at the map again to find Italy's two major mountain ranges. In the north are the Alps, Europe's highest mountains. Another range, the Apennines, runs the length of the Italian peninsula. This rugged land made it hard for ancient people to cross from one side of the peninsula to the other. In addition, some of Italy's mountains, such as Mount Vesuvius, are volcanic. Their eruptions could devastate Roman towns. So let's look at the map. Right here, where Rome is, doesn't that look like a little area that could be a kneecap? And look down here. Here's the toe of the boot, and here's the heel of the boot. And we can see that along this Italian peninsula, the Apennines Mountains run the length of it. And right here we have the Alps, and down here we have Sicily, and over here, Sardinia. Not much of Italy is flat. Most of the land that isn't mountainous is covered with hills. Throughout history, people have built city on these hills for defense. Why were they doing that? Because don't you think it's kind of difficult to climb up to get to a civilization? They can be throwing all sorts of things down on you. They can catapult things down on you. So Rome was up high, and that was a protective mechanism for them. As a result, many of the ancient cities of Italy, including Rome, sat atop hills. Rome was built on 7 hills. Several rivers flow out of Italy's mountains. Because these rivers were a source of fresh water, people also built their cities near them. For example, Rome lies on the Tiber River. And let's take a look at that map again. Can you see right here? Tiber River right in there? Let me see if I can expand that a little bit. Nope, so we'll keep on moving. Climate. Most of Italy, including the area around Rome, has warm, dry summers and mild, rainy winters. This climate is similar to that of Southern California. which is why they're able to grow citrus fruits like oranges and grapefruits. This climate is similar to that of Southern California. Italy's mild climate allows people to grow a wide variety of crops. Grains, citrus fruits, grapes, and olives all grow well there because it's very warm. A plentiful food supply was one key factor in Rome's early growth. Rome's legendary origins. Rome's early history is wrapped in mystery. No written records exist, and we have little evidence of the city's earliest days. All we have found are ancient ruins that suggest people lived in the area of Rome as early as the 800s BC. However, we know very little about how they lived. Would it surprise you to think that the ancient Romans were as curious about their early history as we are today? Rome's leaders wanted their city to have a glorious past that would make the Roman people proud. Imagining that glorious past, they told legends or stories about great heroes and kings who built the city. Aeneas. The Romans believed their history could be traced back to a great Trojan hero named Aeneas. When the Greeks destroyed Troy in the Trojan War, Aeneas fled with his followers. After a long and dangerous journey, he reached Italy. The story of this trip is told in the Aeneid, an epic poem written by a poet named Virgil around 20 BC. According to the story, when Aeneas reached Italy, he found several groups of people living there. He formed an alliance or a bond with one of these groups, a people called the Latins. Together, they fought the other people of Italy. After defeating these opponents, Aeneas married the daughter of the Latin king. Aeneas, his son, and their descendants became prominent rulers in Italy, which means they became very important. Romulus and Remus. Romulus and Remus, among the descendants of Aeneas, were the founders of Rome. According to Roman legend, these founders were twin brothers named Romulus and Remus. In the story, these boys led exciting lives. When they were babies, they were put in a basket and thrown into the Tiber River. They didn't drown, though, because a wolf rescued them. The wolf cared for the boys for many years. Eventually, a shepherd found the boys and adopted them. After they grew up, Romulus and Remus decided to build a city to mark the spot where the wolf had rescued them. While they were planning the city, Remus mocked one of his brother's ideas, which means he made fun of it. In a fit of anger, Romulus killed Remus. He then built the city and named it Rome after himself. How you like that, Remus? Rome's early kings. According to ancient historians, Romulus was the first king of Rome, taking the throne in 753 BC. Modern historians believe that Rome could have been founded within 50 years before or after that date. Roman records list 7 kings who ruled the city. Not all of them were Roman. Rome's last 3 kings were Etruscans, members of a people who lived north of Rome. The Etruscans, who had been influenced by Greek colonies in Italy, lived in Italy before Rome was founded. The Etruscan kings made great contributions to Roman society. They built huge temples and Rome's first sewer. Many historians think that the Romans learned their alphabet and numbers from the Etruscans. The last Roman king was said to have been a cruel man who had many people killed, including his own advisors. Finally, a group of nobles rose up against him. According to tradition, he was overthrown in 509 BC. The nobles, who no longer wanted kings, created a new government. The early republic. The government the Romans created in 509 BC was a republic. In a republic, people elect leaders to govern themselves. That's what we do today. Each year, the Romans elected officials to rule the city. These officials had many powers but only stayed in power for 1 year. This system was supposed to keep any one person from becoming too powerful in the government. But Rome was not a democracy. The city's elected officials nearly all came from a small group of wealthy and powerful men. These wealthy and powerful Romans held all the power, and other people had little to no say in how the republic was run. That doesn't sound fair to me. Challenges from outside. Shortly after the Romans created the Republic, they found themselves at war. For about 50 years, the Romans were at war with other peoples of the region. For the most part, the Romans won these wars, but they lost several battles, and the wars destroyed many lives and much property. During During particularly difficult wars, the Romans chose dictators, and those were rulers with almost absolute power to lead the city. To keep them from abusing their power, dictators could only stay in power for 6 months. When that time was over, the dictator gave up his power. One of Rome's famous dictators was Cincinnatus, who gained power in 458 BC. Although he was a farmer, the Romans chose him to defend the city against a powerful enemy that had defeated a Roman army. Cincinnatus quickly defeated the city's enemies. Immediately, he resigned as dictator and returned to his farm long before his 6 month term had run out. He was a beast. The victory by Cincinnatus did not end Rome's troubles. Rome continued to fight its neighbors on and off for many years. Challenges within Rome. Enemy armies weren't the only challenge facing Rome. Within the city, Roman society was divided into two groups. Many of Rome's plebeians, or common people, were calling for changes in the government. They wanted more of a say in how the city was run. Rome was run by powerful nobles called patricians. Only patricians could be elected to office, so they held all political power. The plebeians were peasants, craftspeople, traders, and other workers. Some of these plebeians, especially traders, were as rich as the patricians. Even though the plebeians outnumbered the patricians, they couldn't take part in the government. In 494 BC, the plebeians formed a council and elected their own officials, an act that frightened many patricians. They feared that Rome would fall apart if the two groups couldn't cooperate. The patricians decided that it was time to change the government. I think I would have decided the same thing because they were outnumbered. All right, here is your section 1 assessment, and you may or may not have completed that already in Google Forms. Use section 1 to complete the section 1 assessment, and I'll see you again in section 2.